morning, Quadcopter 101 here, and before we get started, let's get today's shout-out out of the way. Today's shout-out goes to Alex Legg. Alex was first to say first in one of my recent videos, and thus wins the shout-out, so congratulations. Good morning, Quadcopter 101 here with another neat review of another airplane. This is another beginner's learn to fly airplane. This is the Flybear FX819. Now, looking at the FX819, you'll see it's designed after an airliner, a jetliner. The way it flies, folks, is it's simple two-channel control. The only controls on this is through the two motors here. If you want to climb or descend, you just give it more throttle and it'll start to climb. And if you want to come back down, you lower the throttle and it will descend. If you want to turn to the right, this motor here will provide more power than the right motor, pushing it to the right, yawing it to the right. If you want to turn left, this motor will provide more power and turn it to the left. Very basic design. However, it also is gyro stabilized, okay? It's not in the instruction, or not in the advertisements for this, but in the manual, according to the manual of this, this also includes gyro stabilization. So that means it'll try to keep itself level, try to minimize rollover by adjusting the power on these motors. Okay, again, the only way this is going to be able to control itself is individually adjusting the power between these two motors to reduce phugoid oscillations. Hopefully, we'll see if this has a problem with phugoid oscillations, and also to reduce the potential for rollover. Although it still has the potential, being a two-channel control, if you give it too much power on one of these motors, that will overpower the gyros and cause a rollover. So be careful with this. As with all two-channel, I'll talk about that shortly. And while I'm flying that, what you need to watch for when you fly one of these two-channel aircraft. Now, included in the box is the airplane, and notice the airplane is a pretty good-sized airplane. With that in mind, the box that comes with this is a pretty good-sized box, big box. So I don't think this is offered with free shipping, is what I'm trying to say, folks. Expect to spend some dollars to ship this across the ocean. Additionally, it was nearly fully assembled with the exception of the vertical stabilizer. That had to be glued. Well, actually, I just taped mine in. You could also use just clear cellophane tape. But it also comes with some glue here, a little bottle of foam glue to install that vertical stabilizer. And actually, I don't think this is really foam glue. I think this is old-fashioned airplane glue. This is EPP foam, folks. That's another thing I wanted to mention. EPP foam makes it very tough, okay, for crashes. And on top of that, EPP foam is resistant to most glues. Okay, you got to be careful with some of these foams. Some of these foams will melt when you use glue with them, but this one should not have that problem. Other things that come in the box is this battery. It's a 300 milliamp hour, 3.7 volt battery, very common battery, widely available. So you should be able to find spares for this, and a charger for it. It's a simple wall charger, a USB wall plug charger. This one you could possibly charge through your laptop computer or your computer also through the USB port, because that little 300 milliamp hour battery shouldn't take too long to charge up. But as always, I normally recommend that you use a wall charger, such as for your phone, to charge these USB type of chargers. The controls. Oh, you get a spare set of props. I forgot to mention that. Full spare set of props. I mentioned the glue. I mentioned the manual. I didn't go into the manual. It's both in Chinese and English, switching back and forth between Chinese and English. But, you know, it sufficiently tells you how to operate this aircraft. And the operation of this aircraft is very basic. This is the controller. It's powered by 3 AA batteries. But for that, this controller, all you got on it is the on-off switch and throttle and yaw. Okay, so again, giving it more throttle makes the aircraft climb. Reducing throttle makes the aircraft descend. And when you want to turn right or left, you use this control here. Now, again, since this is a two-channel aircraft, these are normally very sensitive to turning. You know, I do not recommend, well, we'll find out when we fly this, but normally for most of these two-channel aircraft, you need to bump it. You need to bump the controls right or left, and that will adjust, you know, the aircraft's flight direction. So be very careful when flying this, folks. And we'll test that out when we fly it. So that's the FX819. I hope you enjoy this review, and let's take it out and fly it. Let's go do it. Good morning, Quadcopter 101 here, and we are out at one of my favorite flying fields here today. A little bit of a cold day, somewhat overcast, and got a wind too, about 5 miles per hour, but we're going to see how this works in a 5 mile per hour wind. Okay, to turn this on, I got the battery plugged in already, inserted and plugged in, and you just turn this on, and you would put the drone or the airplane down on a flat level surface immediately to calibrate its gyros. And then you turn on the controller, and you look for the blue light to go solid. I think I need to go up and down once. Yeah, that's true. And we got a solid light, so we got connection. Let's try these controls, and we have power. Now, I'm not going to do a ground takeoff, although this is capable of doing such. The reason I can't do that is I don't have a runway out here. But a lot of people don't have runways. So let's see how it does with a hand launch. The wind's coming from that direction. Always throw into the wind, folks, and giving it power. Oh, hit my finger. But it's doing real well, actually, in the wind. Doing real well. Okay, turning it. Let's come downwind. Let's see how it does coming downwind. Giving it more. You have to give it a lot of turn to get it to go. But just long bump turns. But it's flying real well, and it's climbing. This is a glider, folks. Reducing throttle to bring it down. It's way up high. But the gyros are working well on it. Working real well, actually. Reducing throttle. Okay, now giving it throttle to turn it. Now it's turning, turning, turning. Climbing. There's a lip over there, and it's gliding in this lip. I'm gliding it. I'm high. I'm going over here, too, because I want to fly with this. The wind's coming from this direction, folks. But from the mountains. I got to reduce throttle. I got to come back down. I'm just gliding it, folks. It wants to climb. I got an updraft over here that's making it glide real well. Turning, turning, turning. Throttle, 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 throttle. Throttle. I don't know why I did that. The gyros got confused. Okay, gyros are back on. They're balanced again. I guess they calibrate themselves in the air here. I gave it full throttle there, and it kept up. Okay, it's climbing again. It has this updraft. Trying to keep this thing low to the ground is hard to do, folks. It wants to climb, and it's because of this hill over here. Okay, coming back down again. Do bump turns. God, I wish I could bring this down lower so you can see it. It's just gliding, giving it throttle, giving it throttle, giving it throttle. Hard turn to the right, trying to level it off, and there we go. Okay, with that in mind, I'm reducing throttle, just trying to keep it low to us. I can't show this to you up close, folks, because of the way it wants to climb. This thing will probably fly for 20 minutes or so on a battery. This is a really, really nice glider if you want it for gliding purposes. But if you want to show people on YouTube it flying, it's hard to do because it just wants to fly. Come back down here. Come back down here. I got the throttle off. Now the problem with these two channels is if you cut the throttle off and just let it do pure gliding, it ain't going to turn. You have to give it throttle to turn it. Turning it. Good thing this has range. I'm out about 100 meters, and you're not seeing any of this, except a little dot in the sky probably. I'm so sorry, folks. But I can't show this to you up close. It just wants to fly. With the slightest amount of throttle, it's climbing up there. I'm cutting the throttle completely. I got to bring this thing down. But when I cut the throttle completely, it won't turn. Here, throttle's off. I'm turning it to the left. It's turning now. This is an amazing plane. You're seeing it from afar. I can't bring it in close because it don't want to come down. Come down, please. Lower to us. Not over there. Turning, 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 turning. On this overcast day. I hope you're seeing the dot in the sky there, folks. Because that's all I can show you. This thing just doesn't want to fly low. I'm leaving it at that throttle there. It's about 10% throttle. 10% throttle. Hard right turns. Trying to get it come down at 10% throttle with hard right turns. Don't want to come down. The only way I can think of bringing this down is just cut off the throttle entirely, and I ain't going to do that because then it goes into hard dive. We're just going to keep flying it in circles here. This time it's going to come right overhead. This is going to be a long flight. I don't think I want to fly it for 20 minutes, but okay, hit that lip over there and you can see it climb up. This is a 2-channel slope soarer, folks. 2-channel slope soarer. Wow. Really nice glider. It's easy to fly right now, you know. 10% throttle, all I'm doing is giving it hard turns to the right, just keeping turning it. I'll try to keep this in view so you see what I'm doing here. Let's give it a hard turn to the right. Again, 10%, about, well, 20% throttle maybe. Just keeps climbing. Hard turn, hard turn, hard turn. Can I cut the throttle any lower? No, any lower, it shuts it off. So this is minimum throttle. So, you get this airplane, it wants to stay in the air. Full hard turn to the right. You know what? If I stay over here, hard turn to the right. It's going downwind there. Wind got it. Wind's got it. And there it goes. Well, there it is. Found it. That red tail comes in handy to find this thing. It's stuck out. That was the first thing I saw as I'm coming out here. But let's see what happened to it, if any. Let's see, the nose gear came off. Fortunately, there's the nose gear. And again, that plops in like so. So, the nose gear is in. It looks fine. Not a scratch on it. This stuff is tough, folks. This EPP foam, really tough. However, if you hit this into concrete or asphalt, you're probably not going to get the same results. So, you know, go out in a grassy field. In my case, it's out in a sandy field and fly it there. We're going to try it one more time. I'm going to fly for just a bit because I got a feeling this thing will fly all day on that little 300 milliamp hour battery, and I don't have enough battery power in my camera to cover its entire flight. So let's go back up in the field and fly it. Okay, the wind is picking up here. It's about 7 miles per hour now. So again, I'm not going to fly this much longer. But if you're going to hand launch it, put your finger back here, because I had my hands up here and I hit those propellers and it hurt. So keep that in mind too, folks. So I'm going to hold it like this. Takes right to the air. And this time, well, there's not much I can do about keeping it on the ground. It just wants to fly. Just wants to climb, climb, climb. But this time, I am going to stay over there. Boom, again. I turned too hard. Again, you got to be careful with these 2 channels. You turn hard, you can get into a extreme situation here. Again, I recommend doing bump turns, which I forgot to do there, unfortunately. I probably lost my front landing gear again, so let's find out. Coming up to the plane. Front landing gear is still in one piece. How about the airplane? Airplane looks good. Tough stuff. EPP foam, folks. Remember, if you're looking for airplanes, see if they got EPP. Okay. One more time. There's a motorcyclist out here. It's a Sunday, folks. I can only fly out here on Saturdays and Sundays. So here we go again. Reduced throttle this time. And this time I'm going to probably stick the right or bump turns. Bump turn to the right. Still climbing as before. Hard turn to the right, hard turn to the right. I don't want to go down. When I go downwind, I don't want to go downwind because the wind will take it away like it did before. I want to try to keep it up here in this, toward the mountains, folks. That's where the wind is coming from. So if I do get into problems, I can cut the throttle and hopefully it'll come back toward me. The wind will blow it back toward me. That's true with all RC products, folks. If you're flying RC, try to stay upwind. Okay, I'm going to do back and forth turns over this lip here. Turning to the left, bump turn to the right. Turn to the left, turn to the right. Well, it's working fine. So as you can see, this is a long flying glider for 300 milliampere hour. It has that turning to the left and turning to the right. More throttle to level it. And there we go. So I'm going to see if I can bring it in for a landing, actually, folks. Cutting the throttle. We're going to go over here. See if I can bring it in for a landing. Hard right turn now. We're going to try to bring it this way now. Right turn. You know, this thing really does need that 150, 200 meter range because you're going to need a big field to fly this. This is a high flyer and a long flyer, folks. It's not super fast, but it doesn't turn on a dime either. So that's why you need this, need long field to do this. Trying to bring it down, and it's hard. It just wants to fly. But let's just reduce the throttle and see if I can bring it down that way. That's the closest I've been getting it to us since I've been flying it. There it comes again. Land, land, land. There we go. That's it. I'm not going to fly this 20 minutes, folks. It's cold out here, for one thing. And the wind is hitting that lip again, going upward, and just lifting this thing up into the sky and keeping it up there. And I don't have battery power for 20 minutes of flight time. But that's the FX819. A very good glider. 2-channel glider plane. So I hope you enjoyed this flight. This is Quadcopter 101. Signing out. Hi, Quadcopter 101 here again. Hey, if you want to get your own shout out in one of my future videos, make sure you subscribe to my channel. It's real simple. Just go to my channel page and click on that subscribe. And also make sure to click that bell button right next to the subscribe button. That way you get notified when I release a brand new video immediately and give you a chance to get that first shout out. So give it a try, folks.